Hey, how's it going, you lot? Merry bloody Christmas to you all. I hope you're brilliant, all of you. Now, I'm rushing a little bit because I want to get my radios, at least one of them, back because I want to be able to wish everyone locally a Merry Christmas. Because around here where I live, we communicate by radio. We don't really communicate any other way. It's radio, CB primarily, ham as well, but mainly CB. A lot of people are on a CB radio around here, so that's how we will communicate, and I want to be able to wish people Merry Christmas. So I've still got to do my ceiling, I've still got to do a few bits, but I've done all of the walls and everything. I've got to do a little bit of touching up. I want to clean, that's got dusty again because I've been sweeping up, but I want to paint that. But I want to get all the shelves and everything's done, so I've started cleaning things out. I got my pirate ship and my 2 mushrooms there. Those I got when I was a kid for Christmas when I was about 8 years old. Now they're still there, little boxes and things and yeah, whatever else. I got a windmill for a mammoth. You put your little belt on the back there and it makes a little windmill. I don't really want that in here anymore, so I'm going to put that somewhere else. But I'm having a proper clean out. Got a little tiny vacuum cleaner. This is a Hoover 261 or something like that, 262. What is it? You probably might tell me on the bottom. Made in England. Yeah, 262. Hoover model 262. There it is. It's a tiny little one. And it's meant for dolls' houses and things. Anyway, so I'm cleaning up on my bench. I'm going to give it a good old scrub. And then I'm going to set that mess back up again so I can go and wish people Merry Christmas. We've got, this is a load of stuff that I've been slowly going through. I found all these old meters. They're old meters, but they're no longer accurate. They don't work, but I don't want to throw them away because, well, they're old and they've survived this long and they're good for decoration. Do you know what I mean? They're good for ornaments. They do work, but they're not accurate compared to a modern day meter. I do still use them now and again because they work well enough to give you an accurate enough reading. But if you want to measure them, to match them up to today's modern standards, they're not that good anymore. I found an old scanner, so I thought that was good. I found loads and loads of matches, old shit matches, loads of them still in there. Loads of aerials for various different handhelds I've had over the years, and mistakenly, I would never do it on purpose, but obviously mistakenly I've sold them and not included all the aerials. I think everyone does that sometimes. They sell something, and a few years or months later on, they come across something they should have given away with that when they sold it, and they go, bloody hell, I've still got this, you know, it is what it is. But that means I've got some antennas there for various different handhelds, a little pocket computer thing, 64 kilobytes in there, memory, bloody hell, that's a lot of memory, isn't it? I've got a CB microphone, it's got your ears on, it's a money box, but I've managed to lose the bottom of it, so I can't really put any money in there, so I'm going to try and find something to bung that up, and I'm going to use it as a money box. It was decoration, but I'm going for the minimalistic. I got my English dictionary because I want to be able to speak English. There's a lot of people in this country these days that can't speak English, so it's important that we speak English properly. I want minimalistic on my shelves. I don't want clutter, because things always get cluttered. That's the problem with the shelf. A shelf always gets cluttered, but I don't want that. I want minimalistic because I don't want dust. I want to be able to wipe it off, keep the dust at bay, keep this a nice, clean and tidy room without having dust everywhere. So we're going for proper minimalistic, you lot. We are going. I know you won't believe it. You're going to find it hard to. I know you're laughing at me already. Yeah, you minimalistic? Never. I know. But we will. I am going to be minimalistic. And as I say that, I can feel my body shaking. Minimalistic? You what? This is probably my favourite radio. It's old, it's more than 40 years old. It's not, you know, a lot of people would walk away from this nowadays, but this is my favourite radio I reckon I've got these days. I'd like another. What did I have? I've forgotten now. Some of you may remember because it was in some videos. I think it was a 676 or 767. Can't remember now, but it was basically the HF version of this. That's a 2 meter radio, does 77s, and it would do 6, but I haven't got the module in for that. I had one, I bought it off a fellow radio friend, and then I ended up selling it to someone else. He died, and then the other person got it back. I'd like another one of them, or I had a TS440S. That was a fantastic radio. A lot of people said they weren't any good, but I loved mine. Gave me nice audio, nice receive. The tuner worked really well, and it was just a brilliant radio. I'd like another one of them to go with my theme of 1980s radios, but that won't happen for a while because they're about 200 quid, and well, that'll be probably at some point in a few years' time. I'll get another one to match. I would have HF and VHF as well, but this is it. Now, unfortunately, because when this room got flooded, obviously I did my best to try and keep the moisture out of everywhere, because I didn't know it was going to be flooded, did I? The old neighbour put the concrete between the two garages. I didn't know that it was going to cause a flood until it was too late. So there was moisture everywhere. So I tried my best to keep it out, move the radios, keep the moisture out, and dehumidifiers in here and all sorts. But we did have a little bit of corrosion start to happen here. Now looking, I'm not going to take it apart because I've got a warranty seal there. It's probably not any good anymore, but it doesn't matter, because the person that I bought this from had it serviced and repaired by an actual shop. Now this is more than 10 years ago, because I've had this radio more than 10 years. I don't know how long the warranty is, but I don't know. Some of you would say, sod it, just take it apart and have a look anyway. But I'm not going to. I don't really care what you think. So hopefully it hasn't gone in there. I know it still works great, so that's all I really care about. I've got the polish out. Mr. Sheen, good old Mr. Sheen. I've given it a clean. We're giving it a polish. Going to clean all the dust off from inside all the buttons with a little brush. And then it's going to go back in the corner where it lives. And I'm going to wire it up and away we go. I've got my duplexer installed still. Didn't mess with any of that. So still better do 77s. But no one really uses 77s around here. It's all 2 meters. Right, we're slowly getting things back together again. Now, one thing that I think it's important to mention, always check your patch leads, because if I didn't check this, I would have been in a spot of bother. I probably would have been able to identify it fairly quick, but I still would have been in a spot of bother because I would have put everything together and then realised it wasn't going to work. One of my patch leads, amongst all the commotion, is one of the reasons why I don't like moving stuff once I've set it up. A lot of people, they don't mind. They'll chop and change, they'll move stuff, they'll pick stuff up and move it. I've learned in my lifetime, once you plug something in with a cable, leave it alone. Don't move it around because the connections can become loose. Now that's what happened here. I thought to myself, that seems a little bit loose. So I unscrewed it from the ATU, and sure enough, I know it doesn't look like I've done a particularly good job when I put it together, but it's not on there. That's not soldered. It's come loose. So that wouldn't have made a very good connection. And it should look like that. That's what it should look like, roughly. Even that's probably not the best, but it's better. So, yeah, fire up the old soldering iron, mend that, and then I can focus and put things back together properly. We're putting the Lincoln Mark 1 there now because there's 9900s going in my portable radio build thing. So the Mark 1 is going back in this place. And as I say, we're ever minimalistic. And I know I don't need a tuner, but I've got a tuner. So I'm going to put it in place because I've spent more than 10 years with an ATU, yeah? Being able to just tune my antenna on pretty much any frequency that I want and listen. And believe it or not, it will listen better if you tune it. A lot of people say you only need to tune for transmitting. But if you do tune, it will listen better. And I know tuning an antenna isn't as good as actually having it resonant on the frequency you're trying to listen to. I know all that bollocks. But I spent so long with a tuner, it feels like I'm naked if I haven't got one now. So I've got one, so I'm going to put it in place for the CB because I'll be able to tune around all the whole spectrum of that radio. That radio will go more frequencies than my antenna will let it go, if that makes any sense. So putting the tuner in place just means I can keep the radio happy and go all over the bands that the radio would let me go to without having to think about their VSWR. I know that's probably confusing to you, but it makes sense to me, and if you lot don't agree, that's not my problem. I bought these years and years ago, and they're great. I don't know what they're made from. They're metal of some description. They're definitely not gold. But they're great. They come in pairs. You can buy a box of them. They were a little bit expensive. I can't remember how much, but I remember thinking at the time, these were expensive, but I'm going to buy them anyway. And when they turned up, I was really happy. I've used them on all sorts, and I've lost quite a few of them, which I'm really disappointed in myself with, because I can't find them to buy them anymore. They got 2 screws, so you've got 2 anchor points, 1 screw there, 1 screw further down, so you can put the wiring quite far. they also unscrew from the spade thing, so that's quite handy. So you haven't got to disconnect these wires to unscrew that if you needed to for any reason. They're very thick. They're rated to a lot, I know that, but I can't remember what, so don't hold me. I'm not going to tell you what. But that's the brand or whatever they are. But I can't find them anywhere now. If you know where you can buy these, please let me know. They come in positive and negative ones, and they just screw onto the end of the cables. I'm putting them on my Lincoln cable. I've used them on the 756s. I've used them on everything that I can, because they're very, very good. And they just obviously slot into the little things there. They slot behind there. You do them up, and they're great. But I can't find them anywhere. They're a lot better than those little flimsy ones, the little crimps that you get where you crimp them on. Bloody brilliant things. We're getting there now, my friend. We're getting there now. Don't forget, when you're wiring yours up, right, the tuner should always be the very last thing on the line before the antenna. Ideally, the tuner needs to be right at the very base of the antenna, but that's not possible for a lot of people. It's not possible for me because my antenna is on the roof of my house, so I can't put the tuner obviously on the roof of my house. I mean, I could do, but it'd be a lot of work to put it there. So it needs to be the very last thing. So we've got to make sure this is our switch, because I've got various things. I've got test leads and things for testing radios and whatever else, just general CB and a few other options. Shouldn't really have a switch in line if we're being really efficient, but let's not get into the politics of switches and other bollocks. So switch, right, antenna goes out to the wall to the antenna, and then it goes into the tuner. The tuner is the very last thing, the radio is the very first thing, the meter is in between. It's as simple as that. And if you're running an amplifier, if you choose to run an amplifier, then that needs to be radio, amp, meter, tuner. Or if you're coming from the antenna, tuner, meter, amp, radio. I had to think about that then. Didn't want to say it around the wrong way. Just thought I'd put that in. A lot of you watching this will already know that, and in fact you're probably going to say that I've done it wrong. I don't care, because I know that that's the way I've always done it, and it works perfectly fine. I was told that when I first started radio about 15 years ago, and I've never had an issue. But what can I say? Right then, you lot. So I know we're going very minimalistic. This is my minimalistic setup. So we've got all that set up there. 2 meters and 70 sems there. CB here. PMR there. So, and I've got my tuner for the CB, because then I can go on the mids and things. My antenna's not very good on the mids, so that's why I want the tuner there. I know some of you are going to say you can tune the IMAXs for the mids and all that, but I don't care. I'm not going up on the bloody roof and adjusting the rings every time I just want to flick over to the mids. So that's what a tuner is there for, and that's what I'm using it for. Simple as that. One thing that I want to point out, I didn't point out, these, I don't know what you want to call them, crimps, spade connectors, whatever you want to call them. You have got to be careful. Usually I'll wrap the ends with electrical tape, because if these pinch together, they will short out your power supply. And I've had it happen to me many times before. I've not realised that they were shorting together, and I'm going through all the wiring thinking, why is the PSU shorting out? And then I realised it was that. So I just want to point that out. These are cracking connectors, but when you've got them like I have here, I know some of you are going to say, well, put one on that one and one on that one, then that won't happen. I could do that, but I like them to be together when it's just the way I like things. So if they go together, they will short out. So I always wrap the ends with electrical tape. So that's what I'm going to do in a minute, but I thought I'd point that out. Anyway, got me, I'm using this like a bit of a junction box, really. I know we're going minimalistic, I don't need it. It's a meter, and I like meters. They're pretty cool. They're just nice to look at. Shows how many volts I'm running. Can take up to 20 volts if I wanted it to. It's handy because I can put the little banana connectors in the top. If I want to test something quickly, I can just stuff them in the top. And I can also attach things to this like that. So I'm using it as a bit of a junction box, because the wires for the meter, they're supposed to have a light in that meter, but the bulb must have gone in it. So I need to take that apart and change the bulb. But there's a wire going to that for 12 volts to that. I've got 12 volts to that, and I've got 12 volts going to that. But the wires aren't long enough to go around the back and connect to my junction box here. So I use this as a bit of a junction box. This obviously connects to that, and then the wires, they will go to this. So that's the way I've done it. I know there's other ways you can do it, People are going to say do this, do that, but that's how I like it, so that's how it's staying. Minimalistic shelves, not a lot of clutter, happy days, couldn't be happier with that. I've still got all that stuff on the freezer over there. All this stuff here that I'm going to sort through. I've got pens and stuff I'm going to take indoors. I'm going to keep some pens here with a notepad and that, so I can write call signs and whatnot else down. Other stuff, I can't remember what the bloody hell that is. It's bloody, I can't remember what it's for. It's for something. I think it's for testing diodes and stuff. It comes up on a screen. I'm pretty sure it's for testing diodes and other bits and bobs. But I genuinely can't remember what it is. If you know what this is, put it in the comments and jog my memory, because I can't remember. There was a time when I went through a phase of buying radios, CBs, amps, things like that, repairing them and selling them on. But I just can't remember what that was. Anyway, I'm going to go through all of those. I don't really want loads of clutter on my shelf, so some of it's going to go up in the loft. I'm not going to sell any of it. I'm going to put it in the loft and keep it, because I like to do that kind of thing. There's some fans that I made to try and keep the radio cool, because that PMR radio does get very hot, but I'm not going to bother with it anymore because it's just clutter. 2 ferrite rings left over. I had ferrite rings on all my bloody wires. I've got loads of them here. Loads of ferrites all along there, everywhere, to try and minimalise the interference, because as you can see, I get quite a lot on the old 27-78125. I get quite a lot of noise over here now, because my neighbours and all that, they love a bit of technology, so that does create more noise. And I used to get about a signal 2 of standing noise. That was all I used to get, but then when they moved here, now we get nearly 8 all the time. But you know, it is what it is. And I know people, you're all going to say, I've done videos on it before, and you're going to say, do this test, do that test, turn off your electric, trip your breaker, power your radio with a battery, see where the noise is coming from. I've done it all. I know it ain't coming from my home. That is it, full stop. I've turned off my breaker inside my house, done it last year sometime. There was no electric in my home whatsoever, and I powered the radio with a car battery. Still got the noise. Yeah, you got to remember, the noise can be coming down the antenna, or it can be coming up through your mains power, through the plug sockets, wherever they are. Where's the plug sockets? There they are. It can be coming through the plug sockets, so it can be coming from anywhere. But I've isolated my home completely, and I still get the noise. So I know that it's not me, it's not my problem. Some of you are going to say, well, you can report it to Ofcom, you can do this, you can do that. I'm not into trying to make people's lives difficult. I don't want to ruin people's lives. I don't want to ruin people's, if they want technology, they want this and that. Who am I to say you can't have this, you can't have that? Because I, selfish old me, want to use a CB radio. I can't do that, can I? That's just being selfish. So as long as it's not me that's causing it, because if it's my problem, if the noise is coming from something I'm doing, then I can remedy it, can't I, for myself? But what am I going to do? So that is that. Hello, hello, hello. Anyone around on the old 19? Nearly said 25, but I mean 19. Anyone around? Anyone out there on the 19? Merry Christmas to all. Merry Christmas to you all. Anyone who's out there. It doesn't look like there's anyone out there at the moment. There might be later, but at the moment, it doesn't look like there is. So, let's try see who's about on channel 8. So we've got channel 8 on PMR. Now bearing in mind we're on half a watt. Oh, what is it there? Yeah, half a watt I think. So we might not get anyone, but we'll see. Anyone around on the old channel 8? Anyone around on the old channel 8? Hello, who's about? Channel 8 is the channel where most people hang around. We can go to other channels. Got 16 on PMR. Anyone on channel 4? Anyone on channel 4? Hello, channel 4. The volume on this radio is high anyway, so. Let's try channel 8 again, see if anyone's on there. Some people go on 10. Channel 10, who's on channel 8? All around. Come on, Merry Christmas to you all. Come on, you lot. No one out there. No one about. There's a lot of people that reside on here. They tend to go other places. Merry Christmas to you all on channel 8. Merry Christmas. Anyone who's listening, Merry Christmas. Have a good one, you lot. Take care. Well, no one about. It's exciting times now, it's exciting times. Bit of underlay left over from when I've done a bit of carpeting. Not enough to fit the whole lot, so I've just cut it and done it in strips. This is obviously where I sit, so I want it to be nice and soft under my feet. Then a bit over there, so hopefully now, man, if this leaks again and soaks all of this, I'm going to be not very happy. But there we go. Some people say, why don't you get more angry at things? I can't bloody help it. I'm not an angry person. I'm just not an angry person. You know, I just ain't. Let's get a carpet. The world is back. Happy days. And my poster of Radio Caroline back when it was on 558. The Ross Revenge. I wanted to support the upkeep of the ship. So I bought a poster, I don't know, about 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. And a few other bits and bobs. Because I wanted to try and support them. So this radio station still broadcasts from the ship on the River Blackwater, I think it is now, moored up, doesn't float around anymore, it's moved. It's now a legal radio station. It used to be illegal pirate station, now it's a fully legal one. But it's still there, broadcasting from the ship, happy days. And if you want to support it, you can just go and buy some stuff, and any money obviously helps support the upkeep of the ship. It appears that most people are... There isn't anyone on the CB at the moment. It's Christmas time. They're spending time with their families, obviously. But we're on the 145-500. I'm just going to put out a Christmas message and see if anybody replies. So, you never know, do you? Good afternoon. This is Mike 6 X-Ray Sierra Zulu. Just wanted to say Merry Christmas to all. Have a great one. All the best. From M6XSZ. I think everybody must be spending time with their family. Someone over there, look. Who's around on the 19? Anyone on here, hello? I heard a distant voice a minute ago. That's what I'd say, Merry Christmas. Most people tend to come on to have a chat in the evenings. During the daytime, there's not really many people because they were spending time with their families, which is exactly what I should be doing right now. So I'm going to pack up and I'll see you a lot later on. Have a good one. Merry Christmas. As I say, I went out, had a little drive around recently and had a look around. There's a lot of, man, the amount of rubbish and litter all along the streets is heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Rubbish, litter, packets, bottles, wrappers, all sorts. All over the place. So when you're out and about during your time off of work for Christmas, driving around, don't litter, yeah? Don't throw anything out your car window. Just don't litter, alright? It's alright if it's very windy at the moment, so if the wind blows your bin over or something and all your rubbish comes out, don't beat yourself up over that. One of those things, alright? Don't let anyone else tell you that you're an idiot because your bit of rubbish has flown out your bin. But if you purposely litter, that's very bad. Don't do that. Don't purposely litter. Because it's just so disrespectful and ungrateful of the planet that we've come to live on. We need to look after the nature that's with us. You know, we all need to live together. By littering, you're harming nature and you're making the place look bad as well. Anyway, Merry Christmas, take care, treat people nicely, and I'll see you later on. Hopefully, I'll come back later on this evening or tomorrow night, and we might catch a few people on here and we'll say Merry Christmas. Look out for that kind of thing. Cheerio.